empty racks upon your tailgate. Yeah, I'm a little out of place, but my California days are down that road. I've been missing me, everything I used to know. A little piece of me is finally here at home. I've been missing me, everything I used to know. A little piece of me is finally here at home. Here at home. I break it all down and leave the bar. Backseat filled with speakers, Bella and my guitar. All you see are tail lights and these out of place Cali plates. I've been missing me, everything I used to know. A little piece of me is finally here at home. I've been missing me, everything I used to know. A little piece of me is finally here at
And here we are once again on a Saturday, enjoying this, for many of us, holiday weekend. And we'll find out in a few minutes how everybody's Thanksgiving went. But just glad you're here today because we've got, I think, a very interesting show for you, very interesting conversation. So get yourself comfortable, put on the brakes, grab a cup of coffee, and join the conversation because it's time for Coffee Breaks with Steve. That tastes good. I need that today. I think I need that every day. How are we doing? Let's see. Let's check, see who's on here already. Good morning to Kim Baker. Good morning to Jerry Thompson. Carla Venturi is here. Good morning. And if you are tuning in live on this Saturday, November 25th, 2023, do me a favor, please, and say something, say hello in the chat so that we know that you're here, and make sure that you do take part in our conversation. This is our virtual coffee table. We get together and just spend some time together with our cups of coffee or whatever it is that you like to drink in the morning. Maybe you're having breakfast. Let me know if you're having breakfast, what you're having for breakfast right now. It's okay if you have breakfast. It's okay if you eat in front of me. If you're having your morning beverage, what is it that you like to enjoy? I'm having my cup of coffee, and you can probably tell I'm still in the process of waking up. It's something about these holiday weekends. You know, your body is in a different state. Call it relaxation, call it exhausted. I don't know what it is exactly, but if you are in the United States, you're celebrating the Thanksgiving weekend, and we had our Thanksgiving a couple of days ago. If you did celebrate, do celebrate Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving? What did you do to celebrate Thanksgiving? Did you have a special meal? Did you have family together? We have some family with us, which is part of the reason why you're seeing me in a slightly different environment than usual. I'm actually in Carol's office. My wife, Carol, neither of us have 100% all the time dedicated space. We have guest rooms, and Carol's office converts into a guest room, but right now it's set up as the office, so it was easy to do this. My little studio and office downstairs is guest room that does get used when family is here. And our daughter Carissa and her family are here this weekend. That's the space they use. So rather than disrupt their space, it's just easier to come up here. So this is where I'm at. Hey, Rick Venturi. Carissa is on here. That's great. Thank you, Carissa. Carissa, Jason are out right now, spending some couples time together, and so that's great. Jay Zetterval is here. Hey, all. Who else is on here? Yes, I said hi to Kim, and actually I should say good meowing or good afternoon and happy Catterday. That's great. All right, let's see what is going on here this weekend. And again, do let us know. I'll let you know. I said let us know about your Thanksgiving. Carissa and Jason and their girls, Summer and Carson, are here this weekend. We didn't have all the family here. We'll have a much larger group when we get to our Christmas celebration in a few weeks. But it's just nice to have some family here. Made Thanksgiving a little bit quieter. We had our Thanksgiving dinner with all the fixings, and it was actually nice. Carol and I took some time over a couple of days to kind of get things ready and didn't feel stressed or rushed at all. I love having all the family here. It's wild and crazy, but just having one segment of the family here is much more laid back, which is fine too. But I am looking forward to Christmas. So, and hi, Pamela. Pamela is on here. Pamela Jean. You're going to learn a lot more about Pamela in just a little while. But the fact that she's on here means that she will be able to participate in the chat. You may have some I can't talk. You may have some questions for Pamela during the conversation, which she and I pre-recorded. And that's great because she's here. She can respond to those. She can give you more information about herself. We're going to share some things during and at the conclusion of the conversation with her. And I will let you know now, and I'll remind you, Pamela and I recorded this conversation last month in October. So you're going to hear some things that reference October. You're going to hear some things that she's talking about that she's doing in the month of October. That's fine. It's not irrelevant. It's just I wanted to put it into perspective for you. So let's get on to our sweet and savory here and talk a little bit about some things coming up, some just stuff that I thought was, no, that's coming up. That's not the one I want. That comes at the end of the show. I'll share with you what's coming up. I got carried away because I said coming up. Let's talk about sweet and savory. And you'll notice that on here, I'm going to put since I am working from the smaller screen, I need the glasses sometimes to see what I'm looking at here. Hi, Shalane. The charcuterie, that's correct. And notice when I'm not trying to worry about saying charcuterie, I can say it. I think I mentioned last week that I decided to call this segment Sweet and Savory because I was afraid I couldn't say charcuterie without plenty of coffee in my system. But you'll notice that instead of just this week, this is almost a full month of sweet and savory, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But I'm going to be traveling again, so I wanted to cover a few things here in this episode. Countdown. We're in the countdown to Christmas. Do you celebrate Christmas? Number of holidays for people's different preferences come up during the next month or so. We have Hanukkah, which I believe starts on December 7th. We have Kwanzaa. We have some people who just celebrate the winter solstice when it begins. We have Christmas, which is on December 25th. That's a month from today. We are 1 month away from Christmas, believe it or not. So we're definitely in that countdown phase right now. So get ready, folks. It's interesting because with all the traveling that we've been doing and are getting ready to do again, there was this all of a sudden revelation in my mind. It's like, oh my gosh, Carol and I are usually doing our Christmas shopping starting way in advance and, just continuing to work right up almost till Christmas, but we start quite a ways in advance. We had a few things in advance, and then all of a sudden I realized that we hardly had any of our Christmas shopping done. So Amazon and I have become very, very close friends in the last couple of weeks. Anyway, hey, Didi Kiso is on here, and Jerry Zetterval. I said hi to Jay. I don't know if I said hi to Jerry Zetterval yet. So yes, please do continue to do what you're doing, and put your comments and say hello in the chat, because we want to know that you're here. We want to have a conversation together. I wanted to tell you about this one. This one is cute, and I don't know if I have these in the right order. I guess I'll find out, because I had these differently on paper. But you probably know this story. There was this grandma, the name of Wanda. Back in 2016, she thought she was sending a text message to her grandson, and she didn't know that there had recently been a change in phone numbers. She ended up sending an invitation to Thanksgiving dinner to this stranger, Jamal, and he responded, and they got into a conversation, and she eventually pretty soon discovered this wasn't her grandson. This was some stranger. And she went ahead and invited him to Thanksgiving dinner. And it has become a tradition for them every year since 2016. And this past Thursday, they celebrated once again their 8th time celebrating Thanksgiving together, Jamal and Wanda. And he's become family. And I just love the story. They keep into the let's see, they're meeting. We're hosting a friend at Wanda's home. Blah, blah, blah. So there's an entire story. You can find the stories about this, but I just love the fact that they get together every year now, and it has become family and become tradition for them. Yeah, this one, I just had them out of order. This one is also great. This one is in Auburn, Washington. And this was this past week. An anonymous local philanthropist stepped forward with an extraordinary $800,000 donation, completely covering the expenses associated with the relocation of the Auburn Food Bank. This magnanimous gesture resolved a significant hurdle that had been looming over the food bank, its executive director, Debbie Christian, and its dedicated staff for months. Primary issue revolved around the agency's inability to transition to its nearly completed new facility until settling the outstanding debt with the contractor. So she says that Debbie Christian, the executive director, said she received an unexpected phone call. And the phone caller was a young woman, said she had a bunch of questions to ask about what we were doing and where we were going and why did I need $800,000. This individual inquiring about the food bank's plans and financial needs turned out to be a representative of the generous businessman behind the remarkable donation. An hour later, I get a call back, and he says, yeah, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to take care of all of it. I want to lift this from the food bank and make sure you guys are able to move forward and you don't have to think about this anymore. Philanthropy, is a big deal for me. Generosity is a big deal for me. And the idea of each of us doing something to make a difference, to make an impact is a big deal. And that's going to be a big focus of our conversation, my conversation with Pamela Jean in a few minutes, as just a little bit of teaser for that. So you'll want to stay tuned. I'm going to leave. I'm not vain. I'm going to leave my reading glasses on because the screen is small and I can see what you're saying in the chat more effectively. We had a number, because I'm going to be traveling the next 3 weeks and we're going to be off the air. I thought about this recently, that when I'm traveling, getting ready to travel, I have not been really faithful about extending out the recognition of celebrations. And so this time I'm and forgive me if on one of my previous travels, I because I was gone and we weren't on the air, I didn't mention your birthday or anniversary or anything like that. But we've got several of them coming up in the next few weeks, and I wanted to make sure that we covered them. Vera Packard, who is a dear friend, has been a guest on this show to talk about her work and being a life coach, has a birthday in a couple of days, November 27th. Happy birthday to Vera. Lydia Durnell, who is the daughter of my dear cousin Brenda, is celebrating her birthday on that same day, November 27th. Happy birthday to Lydia. Moni Knopp, also a dear friend who has been a guest on this show, talked about his childhood journey coming out of the killing fields of Cambodia. You may remember that conversation several months ago. December 2nd, celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday, Moni. Jerry Thompson. And yes, this is a legitimate picture of Jerry. This is her profile picture on Facebook. Jerry, you probably have other pictures out there, but I try to be faithful to posting what people put up publicly as their profile picture. And ironically, Jerry and I went to elementary school together. We've known each other for a number of years. This is pretty much how I remember Jerry anyway. So it's okay with me. But Jerry's celebrating a birthday on December 4th. So I'm glad you're here, Jerry Thompson, and happy birthday ahead of time. We'll re-wish you a happy birthday on your birthday, but I wanted to mention it here. Shaylin Platt, who is the wife of my nephew, niece-in-law, I guess would be the correct term, celebrating a birthday on December 4th. Sean Cullen Carroll, who has also been a guest on this show, amazing guy, he's an entrepreneur and an actor, is celebrating a birthday on December 11th. You can see we're getting down the road a ways here because we're not going to be on. Rebecca Blair, who's sort of an adopted daughter. Hang on. Can you hear my throat trying to do this? There we go. Rebecca Blair is celebrating a birthday on December 18th. And so is my sweet granddaughter, Carson, who is actually here with us this weekend. Carson is going to be celebrating a birthday, turning 6 on December 18th. So that's pretty amazing, too. An anniversary to celebrate. My niece and her husband, John and Kirsten Harris, on December 1st are celebrating their wedding anniversary. It's the day of their wedding and what they look like now. And, you can see they've aged gracefully. So that's wonderful. Happy anniversary, John and Kirsten. Do you have a special day coming up this week, actually, over maybe in the next several weeks, that you'd like to mention here in the chat? I love Jerry's comment. She says Steve hasn't changed a bit. Jerry, I'm assuming you have not either. That's why I posted that picture of you, because, hey, what has changed? I'm sure that when we were in elementary school together, I had a gray beard. Did have to wear glasses. All right. Do you have a special day coming up between now and, let's say, December 22nd or 23rd that you would like us to mention here in the chat? Please do put it in the chat so we can celebrate with you. And if you have a special day coming up, perhaps at the end of December, when we will be back on the air, or in the month of January, perhaps, well, let us know that. You can send that to me via email at cbwsteve@comcast.net, and we'll make sure that we get that included and celebrate with you. Okay, I want to get on to our topic today, and I want to get on to introducing you to our special guest who is here. Pamela, if I get anything wrong or anything not up to date, you can update and fill us in the chat. But I want to tell you a little bit about our guest. And I have to tell you that I was absolutely astounded, amazed by her story, and I'm amazed by her talent. You get to experience both during our conversation today. I'll tell you about Pamela Jean. She is a touring singer-songwriter and Nashville recording artist who originally hails from Minnesota, calling six states home at one point in the past 20 years. Pamela has had some amazing experiences and shares the highs and lows of her life through her music. She is a self-taught, self-funded, and self-promoted artist. During her 8 years in Southern California, she started her show journey by hosting open mics. This led to her performing her own solo gigs, which led to her becoming a touring artist. She has performed across the country in countless cities and has taken the stage with and/or opened for, listen to this, the Little River Band, Bubba Sparks, Dewey DeRoe of the Oak Ridge Boys, Good Old Boys, Devin Wade Band, Ryan Criss and the Rough Cuts, the Hardways, and more. Every one of Pamela's recorded songs received radio airtime on stations that include K102 Country in Idaho, KYRS Spokane, KPRI San Diego, KZUU 90.7 in Pullman, Washington, and WNYR New York. In addition, She has co-produced and to date released 3 music videos. Pamela has been on several cross-country solo tours with her one-eyed dog, Bella, who she refers to as her head of security. You'll get to meet Bella today, by the way. She originally toured in a 20-year-old Toyota Corolla that leaked transmission fluid for several tours. And in 2020, she bought a 23-foot travel trailer and spent 14 months as a full-time RV lifer, touring through 11 states in her self-proclaimed tour bus. Much of Pamela's music is inspired by her own journey through and freedom from abuse, as well as the experiences of other women close to her. Pamela fled a highly toxic situation in 2017, started her Pedal to the Metal tour journey and mission, and she donates 10% of all music proceeds to Priest River Ministries Advocates for Women in Spirit Lake, Idaho. Her mission is to raise awareness about domestic violence and inspire others to flee these situations and never look back. So with that, I think you will want to meet, and I will want to introduce you to Pamela Jean. Pamela Jean, welcome to Coffee Breaks with Steve. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Hey, thank you, Steve, for having me this morning.
You know, we went through a little bit of an introduction and shared with people a little bit of your background, but I just always think it's interesting when we talk to artists, talk to musicians, kind of how that started. Did you start singing or playing instruments at a young age?
I was in piano for 6 years as a kid. I hated every minute of it, but as a grown-up, I'm so thankful that my mom forced my sister and I through piano lessons and reading music and learning an instrument. And then junior high, you had to choose between band or choir. And I wanted to do band. My dad said no, we didn't have money for an instrument. So I got to go do choir. And I was terrified of singing in front of anybody. So I basically lip sync my entire way through choir and had to do, or like we had to have tests in front of the teacher to let them know we could sing. Well, I was too scared to even sing in front of her. So yeah, nobody younger will even know what I'm talking about here. But we had a tape recorder in the back room. And Mrs. Duncan, my choir teacher, if she's ever hopefully listening to one of these interviews, was nice enough to let me stay in choir and sing into a tape recorder. So they knew I could at least stay in choir class.
So there was a point, obviously, I mean, that stage fright, that fear of singing went away. How old were you when you kind of started to come out of that shell and feel more confident and comfortable singing in public?
It was 18 at my senior all-night party, and I got dared to do karaoke.
And at what point did you begin to think or realize that this was something that would become a life's calling, a life's mission, that you would become a professional singer artist?
Once I got out of that fear and did that, I started singing at a bunch of different karaoke bars in the town I lived in. And, you know, people would let us in the bars as long as we weren't drinking because we were all underage, but they'd let us come sing. And everybody was like, we love hearing you sing. And then people wanted a CD. Well, I didn't write music back then. So I went and recorded like a little karaoke CD with a few songs on it. And, you know, thought I was going to get famous off this 3-song CD that we made in somebody's home studio. But it's been a never ending journey, and it's been amazing.
You said you hadn't started writing songs then, but you are a songwriter now. When you're performing, do you only perform original music? Do you also do covers?
I do. I have about an hour of original music right now, and then, you know, up to 2 hours of cover music, depending on the venue and what we're doing. But right now I'm focusing on my original music. I have a band that we've put together recently, and we're focusing on my original music. We're not going to be a 3-4 hour casino cover band. We are an original band with covers is how we're marketing it, where, you know, if a big name act comes through Spokane at the Knitting Factory or Nashville North or somewhere big, and they need that 45-minute opening act, we are going to be a 45-minute all original Pamela Jean's music act with one cover at the end or something, or at the beginning to capture your audience.
And you talked about opening act. You've opened for quite a few artists over the years yourself. Who are some of the
Yeah.
acts that you've opened for?
Well, my claim to fame was the Little River Band.
Love the Little
That
River
was
Band.
that was a total accident. I was living in Oceanside, California, and I have a friend who books music, and he sent me a message on the fly and said, "Hey, we have a band that canceled for the Saturday show." And I didn't have a band at the time, but I had previously been in a band. He says, "If you can put a band together in the next 3 days and sell, $300 worth of tickets, I can get you this opening slot." So I called my old bass player up. I said, "Mikey, I need a band by Saturday." So he was in a band already. He put all of his guys together. They came and rehearsed in my kitchen. We set up an entire band in my kitchen, did a one trial rehearsal of my original music. And then I, on Facebook, told all my friends, if I don't sell $300 worth of tickets, I don't get to open for the Little River Band. And all of my friends bought tickets, whether they were coming to the show or not. And we got the opening slot. And then I got to go party on their bus afterward. And I still have a guitar autographed with all the Little River Band on the back of my guitar.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you have lived and I mean, aside from touring, Pamela, you've lived in a lot of different places. And how has that impacted your music career?
Oh, it's impacted my career amazing because I'm always seeing different things, meeting new people, working at different places, experiencing different things in life. I'm never stuck. I'm never bored. This Washington is my sixth state that I've lived in. I never grew up in a military family like a lot of people that move around were, "Oh, were you in the military?" No, I just am a hippie gypsy artist and I enjoy traveling. I enjoy moving. I don't own a home. I've never had children. So I have the freedom to just literally pack up. You see me in my RV right now, by the way. This is my little office slash home on wheels. It's like a grown-up play fort. It's paid off. It's mine. It took me years to accomplish this goal right here. But this RV, my memories popped up on Facebook. It was 3 years ago today. I moved in here full time.
Wow.
And I did 14 months in this. I went to 11 states in here and spent 2 months in Vegas, spent 12 months in North Idaho, spent a couple weeks in my parents' driveway in Wisconsin. So I love to travel. I love to move. I've got myself condensed to not much, things in life that I have to drag around the country.
Yeah. You, I think, again, just to add some credence to your performing history and your career, your music has, we talked about opening for Little River Band, but I mean, you've been doing solo gigs, you've been touring, your music has been played on the radio in different
Yes.
venues.
Yeah, I have every one of my recorded originals has been played on the radio at least once. I started that with the Homegrown Hour in San Diego, small country town, and Nothing to Do with You were both played on the radio there. And then I've had radio play right here in Spokane on KYRS. They've played several of my originals. K102 out of North Idaho has played several of my originals and had me on to 2 or 3 different interviews in studio at most of these places. So I've also had Chihuahua radio station. There's been little stations all around that have like independent radio. They're really cool. If you send them your music and you want to get heard, they always love to do interviews and feature new artists.
And you also have several music videos, and we're gonna be sharing something here in a few minutes. But how many music videos have you been able to put together?
I have 3, and just like my songs, I would have a lot more if they weren't so expensive. So if there's anybody out there with money that wants to sponsor an independent artist, I'm right here. I'm very hardworking. I have more songs than I know what to do with. I've got a lot of recorded songs I would love to have videos put together with. And I'm very lucky right now because my boyfriend is into videography and photography and bought a bunch of drone and GoPro and camera equipment and walked off his 25 years at the postal office to become a self-employed artist like myself.
Excellent.
So he wants to practice with some of my songs and make some music videos. And, you know, we're just trying to get our art out there. But the music videos run on average 1,500. Songs run 1,800 to 2,000 a piece.
Yeah.
So as an artist and a former bartender, anybody who's in my industry knows how long it takes to live, pay your bills, and then save up $2,000 to go do another project.
Mm-hmm. Well, we want to share one music video that's an important one, and we'll talk about it after we share this, why it is so important to you, and I think for people to be aware of. So right now, this is Small Country Town, the official music video by Pamela Jean.
God forever was in the palm of your hand. Spend your life with that one and only man. Wanted everything I believed you to have. Dream forever was in the palm of your hand. Looking through the photos of your white wedding day, everything looked perfect to everyone else anyway. And you and me, an amazing actress you'd make.
Pamela, obviously the lyrics, the message of the song itself, and the message that comes up at the end is significant. And you mentioned as well, dedicated this song to your sister. But I wondered if you would just like to talk a little bit about the video, the music video, and a little bit about the cause that it represents that's very important to you.
So the song itself was inspired by my sister's first marriage, and our entire family had no idea what she was even going through until she basically left. And that's what sparked the song. Is it hit me so hard. She was with this guy for 9 years, and I thought she was happy. It's just like it says in the song. I thought she got married. I thought she was happy. And it's amazing how many women don't speak out and they don't tell anybody what's going on behind closed doors because they're afraid. They get ashamed. By the way, if you're watching, there's nothing to be afraid or be ashamed of. It's not your fault. People that treat each other like that, it's them, it's not you. And this song was written in 2009, and we actually recorded that video a year ago this month because I wanted to release it for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And the whole video, I knew I couldn't do this one on my own. I knew I needed characters that could play the part of what it's like being in an abusive relationship. And I called my sister, in my head, I didn't know what direction to really go with the video. And my sister gave me these little cues of what it's like. Yes, I am a domestic violence awareness survivor too, but she was in a different type. There's so many different types of abuse. There's abusive relationships where nobody will even lay a hand on you, and you might be curled up in a ball crying for the rest of your day because somebody said something that was so god awful that you can't even pick yourself up off the floor. And my sister told me, start where things just are little issues. Like the first scene, you see she comes with a college acceptance letter, and her husband or boyfriend doesn't want her going across the country to pursue her dream. If somebody's not behind you to help you pursue your life's path and your dream, and they want to cut you down, that's a red flag number one. Don't walk, run. Just run for the hills and don't look back. The person you're supposed to be with is never going to cut your dreams and your aspirations and your goals down. The lingerie scene, that was my sister told me about. Yeah, like you get dressed up and a guy wants to pay no attention to you, or vice versa. Abuse goes both ways. Just because I'm a woman and I support women's advocate with women's shelters, men get abused almost as much as women do. It's not talked about because they're not in fear of their lives having to leave. But also the other scene in the video, there was some pieces of stuff I've experienced. There was some pieces my sister experienced, and we kind of combine our heads together with the couple who was acting in my video, some ideas of theirs, as well as Dawson, who produced the music video. And the four of us just rolled with it one afternoon in Bayview, Idaho, and made that video.
Well, it is an important message, and let me personally say thank you for making the video. Thank you for sharing
You're welcome.
the message and continue to advocate, because as it said there, you also donate a percentage of proceeds for shelters and for organizations that provide for those impacted by domestic violence. So thank you.
Yes. When I fled my abuser, I had $40 in my pocket, and my dad told me to get out of the town I was living in. And he said, you need to leave tonight. And I laughed. I said, with what money? I said, I have $40 to my name. He says, don't worry about the money. I'll take care of it. He says, I want you out of that town tonight. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I have a job. I can't just quit my job. He says, yes, you can. He says, if you give a 2-week notice, what could happen to you in the next 2 weeks could be scary. And I don't want you to be another statistic on the news. He says, you're going to pack your shit and you're going to get, am I allowed to swear on here? Sorry.
You're fine.
He said, you're going to pack up and you're going to leave. So that night I put in a notice at work. I had to call my boss. I told him, I said, I have to leave. No questions asked. Everybody was very aware of my situation and what was going on. My boss was very, very sad, but I had a couple girls come over with me that night. We packed up my bedroom that I was renting. My dad paid for the U-Haul the next day I went to get. And I put an ad on the Spokane Craigslist looking for a room to rent and had 5 days with the RV. I had no idea where I was going. I had no idea where I was going to end up. But my dad gave me $2,000 and said, go start your life somewhere new. And we started driving, and my dog and I ended up in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. My dad would never take any money back after paying for my move. He said, if I never see a dime from this, I don't care.
Yeah.
And you know how parents are. They're like, you owe me $3,000 from that car repair. And hey, I saw that you went on a vacation. Where's my money from that, that I lent you for tires? Well, this was never brought up again. It was something my dad helped me out with. So I figured the only thing that was fair was when I actually ended up in North Idaho first, and I was hiding, by the way. I had a P.O. box in Liberty Lake, Washington. I never changed my license plates over, which is how the song Here at Home came about, because I was terrified. I didn't want anyone to find me. I was getting threats. I had to change my phone number. I had to file a police report. So I went into hiding, and it was crazy because I was starting off my music touring and had to tell venues that I couldn't put anything on social media, and I have to explain to them that I was hiding and that I was scared. And it was not a exactly fun way to start what I've been doing, but people understood. And I started off called Pedal to the Metal. And I decided that the little bit of money I'd be making playing music was going to get 10% donated as a tithe to women's shelters. And it was like, $10 here, $20 there. It wasn't much. But it was every show I did, I raised awareness, and people started to tip more. And I started to realize that, okay, well, not only is my mission helping others, it's helping me have the money to continue this journey to drive aimlessly around the country with my one-eyed dog and sing my songs and tell my story. And sometimes I am like, I don't need to tell my story tonight. Maybe I'm not in the mood, or maybe nobody's listening, but there's always somebody listening, and there's always somebody that comes up and says something to me. And I can't tell you the number of times I've had women that connected with me after a show, during my break, for a drink at the bar after, and they tell me their story. We friend each other on Facebook and we stay in touch, and I've given them advice or the women's shelter number on how to help them get out and get to safety.
Good.
And in the 6 years I've been up here, I've personally donated and raised over $5,000 through my posts and through the tip jar. And that goes mostly to Priest River Ministries, Advocates for Women in Spirit Lake, Idaho. But as I tour, I donate to other women's shelters in the cities I play in. And now that I'm here in Spokane, I do a lot of stuff with Stop the Silence, which is a nonprofit based out of Spokane.
Excellent. Well, do we want to meet Bella?
Yes, let me go get her.
Okay. And this is
Bella. This is Bella, yes.
And tell me why she is your head of security on the road and a faithful companion at all times.
Yes, yeah. She's a rescue out of a Diamond Springs, California dog pound. And I didn't even want a dog. I didn't want anything else to take care of when I was in this abusive relationship. And she has been, come here. Come up, load up. That's her head of security bark, by the way. She's literally just barking at my boyfriend that we live with, who is her daddy. And she's, sit down, sit down. Good girl. But no, she is definitely my best friend. And she was my angel. She came to me at a very, very, very dark time in my life. And I'd be lost. I would be completely lost without her. And I definitely would not travel the country by myself, singing music in bars and staying in RV parks and hotels without her.
Absolutely. That's wonderful to have a look and look at she. Yeah. She loves her mama. Well, as we wrap up here, and we will be sharing, by the way, the links.
Yeah. So if you're sharing the link, it is PamelaJeanUnlimited.com. If you're
Right.
on any social media, Pamela Jean Unlimited on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And the only one that's not unlimited anymore is my Facebook, which I've deviated from 3 small businesses and a music page, trying to go centrally from my personal page. So look up Pamela Jean. You will see a tour schedule on top, and it tells I'm going month to month of where I'm going to be. My plan right now is to be in Vegas for January to get warm for a couple weeks, but I'm all local for October. I do have, if you haven't heard my song Whiskey Wasted, I do have a Whiskey Wasted drink cups. I'm going to give a quick little shout out to Bucked Up Whiskey out of Northern California. They featured my Whiskey Wasted song in a commercial and then sent me some whiskey to let fans sample at my venues I play at. And Formula Flawless, who sponsors me with skincare, Ray Indigo, and she has formulaflawless.com. So I just wanted to give shout outs to those two as well.
Pamela Jean, thank you for taking the time to be with us on Coffee Breaks with Steve, and continue to wish you the best. Cheers.
Thanks for having me. This was great.
All right. That was my conversation with Pamela Jean. And there's actually more. This was edited just for time, but there's more, which I'm going to be, you'll see a fuller version soon on the YouTube channel, and I would encourage you to go there. This was raw, right? This was, I mean, you got to experience Pamela's amazing talent with the music video, but you also got to hear her amazing story, and it is raw. And you know, we could have cut that down quite a bit, but it was important to make sure that it was not, I didn't want to over filter that. Does that make sense? I wanted that to be something that you would be focused on. And we posted this. I'm going to put it up here again, and we're going to be showing it more in the follow-up on the Facebook page. But Pamela talked about her mission, life's mission, to bring awareness about domestic violence and to help influence others who may be caught up in that to find freedom. And so we're putting the National Domestic Violence Hotline here, and you can copy this down. And again, I'm going to be posting it. You can find it online. But if you or someone you know is involved in the situation and wants and needs that freedom, this is one of the places that you can go to find information and to get assistance that you may need. So we wanted to share that as well. I also just want to thank Pamela again for taking the time to be with us and for sharing that amazing story, because it's important and it's extraordinary. And I think it sheds some light into not only the artist, but the person. And I think that's important as well. All right, we're getting right down to the end of time, but I want to share a little bit about what's coming up in the next few weeks, because that's important as well. Listen, I mentioned already, going to be gone the next 3 Saturdays. You're not going to see Coffee Breaks with Steve live on the air, but that's okay. I'm going to be traveling again. Carol and I have an opportunity to spend some time in New York City. We're leaving next week, and we get to spend some time there. It's amazing that in the last few years, we've gone from trips to places like New York, where we would only be going for the tourist events, going to see a show or two, going to check out tourist things. And we are going this time of year partially to fulfill a bucket list item of ours, especially of Carol's, to see the Radio City Rockettes Music Spectacular live. We have tickets to see that while we're in town, and also just to be in New York during the holiday season and be able to go down like to Rockefeller Center and see the big Christmas tree and see people ice skating and see the decor at Macy's and all of that type of thing. But now we also, when we go to New York, we have friends there. We've people who we have known for a number of years who now live in New York, and people we have met along the way. And we're going to be spending time with friends. And so that's pretty cool too, that we get to do that. And also just wanted to, we'll be back in Rhode Island where Carol is doing some work, and I'm trying to keep up with things as well. But we've just chosen, while we're on the East Coast, not to try to do coffee breaks because of the time difference on Saturdays. Saturdays are our day to go out exploring. And I would be broadcasting live at 12:30 in the afternoon, which cuts into our day. And my time with Carol comes first, family comes first. And so we want to preserve that time. But we will be back on December 23rd for a special holiday edition just coming into Christmas, and still working on the next few guests and getting those conversations recorded. So I'm not ready to tell you yet who we're going to be talking to and what the exact topic will be on December 23rd, juggling a few things right now, but we will be back on that date. So be watching for information on that. Just a reminder that you can speak into this too. This is our conversation together. This is our time around that virtual coffee table. So if you have any topics you think we should discuss, especially as we go into 2024, if you know of people that you think we should have on as guests, especially if there's someone that you can introduce me to help, you can reach me at cbwsteve@comcast.net. And just a reminder that you can find episodes of Coffee Breaks with Steve on several of the podcast sites as well. We don't go live to many of these sites, but we can go on. We do go on later on and post, as well as on YouTube, where we are broadcasting live, but also have recordings of our shows on there. And then if you have not already gone to the YouTube channel and subscribed, I would invite you and encourage you to do that. That helps get the algorithm up there and more people will see these episodes. Can you imagine more people having the opportunity to hear Pamela Jean's music, to be introduced to her as an artist, but also to hear her amazing story? I hope you'll do that. I hope you will take the time to help me get these topics and these guests out in front of people. And I just thank you for doing that. All right, listen, we're coming down to the end of our time here today. And just another shout out and thank you to Pamela Jean for being with us. Thank you to all of you for taking the time on what I know can be a busy family weekend for a lot of people, to take the time to be here and to be a part of the conversation. If you didn't get a chance to join us live, but you're tuning into this later on and watching this recorded, you can still put your comments in the chat, whether on Facebook or YouTube. We'll see them. Pamela can go back and see what we have talked about that may not have come up live. Oh, I do want to share, there's another thing I wanted to share with you before we go off the air. And that is, I wanted to make sure that you know, Pamela mentioned it, but I wanted to make sure that you're aware. You can go to her website, PamelaJeanUnlimited.com. Very easy to find, PamelaJeanUnlimited.com. And she mentioned some of the other social media, but if you go to her website, you will be able to scroll down. You'll see everything there, including, and we didn't have a time to include in this edited version, but she talks about some of her merchandise, that some of it is handmade jewelry, and she sells at her when she's doing concerts, and she makes it available online, and she's got some special things going on with that right now as well. So do take the time to go to her website where you can find music videos, you can find even a connection to other media when she's done interviews with other people, maybe not as, big a deal as Coffee Breaks with Steve, but she's done a number of interviews, and you can just find everything about her on there. So just a reminder to go out and make sure, and we'll again post on our pages all the information and the links to Pamela Jean's website and places you can contact her. Maybe you want to book her for a concert. Well, you can find that information on there too, or just get in touch with her. All right, listen, we've gone a little bit over, but I think it was worthwhile. Thank you for being here. And, this was another one of those weeks where I think we've learned that we all have something in our story that leads us to a passion that says we can make an impact, we can make a difference. So please have a great and safe rest of your holiday weekend. Have a safe and wonderful next few weeks until we meet again. And please do find a way to make a difference in your world this week. God bless you. Have a great week.